Tashidilek, everyone, and very good afternoon. I want to take us all back to September 2012. That was when the Central Tibetan Administration convened a special general meeting of the Tibetan people. And this meeting was to discuss the crisis in Tibet in the wake of the self-immolation protests. So you could imagine 500 Tibetan leaders from across the world, from 20 plus countries, had convened in Dharamsala. And there was this sense of urgency, and there was also this sense of desperation, because Tibetan people were setting themselves alight, calling for freedom in Tibet and calling for the return of His Holiness the Dalai Lama back to Tibet. So amid such a desperate situation, there is a meeting right in Dharamsala. And as the then member of the Tibetan Parliament, I was tasked with the role to facilitate a discussion. This discussion was to talk about what the global community could actually do when Tibet finds itself in the throes of crisis and a tragic situation. And it was at that meeting that I got hold of a very significant piece of correspondence. And that letter was written or authored by Congressman Jim McGovern, along with Congressman Frank Wolf. And you had addressed the letter to the then Secretary of State, Hillary Clinton. And that letter called for a global, coordinated action against People's Republic of China and their policies in Tibet. So what this letter was essentially saying is, like the international coordinated action to look into the situation in Syria, we need something very similar, in fact, stronger for Tibet. So you could imagine when that letter was read out and loud during that special general meeting, what I saw in that room was echoes of gratitude, that reverberated among all the attendees. Because that piece of letter instilled in the Tibetan people a deep-seated conviction in the support that was coming from the halls of US Congress. And that support was personified by Congressman McGovern. And now, coming back to 2024, 12 years, that sense of conviction, in Congressman Jim McGovern's commitment to the cause has only deepened. Therefore, today we are all here to really take a moment and think of the remarkable contribution that this one man, the leader, the fearless champion of the Tibetan cause has done. And again, in 1950s, when Tibet was under the brutal invasion of the Chinese Communist Party, our leader, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, chose peaceful resistance over retaliation. And it was his visionary, charismatic leadership that led all of us through that turbulent times onto the path of rebuilding what we lost, reviving and restoring our sense of self, our sense of identity, our sense of belonging. And therefore, the Tibet movement that we see today right here in this room is built on the spiritual and emotional resilience of the Tibetan people. And because of which, in today's age, when we see democracy backsliding, rising authoritarianism, deepening polarization, extreme violent mechanisms, and a lot of polarization and chaos, you look at Tibet, the spirit of the Tibetan people, the leadership of His Holiness the Dalai Lama. These are the beacon of hope. And His Holiness the Dalai Lama's leadership epitomizes this hope. And I would attribute it to our friends like Congressman Jim McGovern, who continues to fuel this sense of hope. Therefore, all of us here, especially the Tibetan people, I think we're extremely fortunate to count on you as a friend, as a partner, as an ally, and as a fearless champion. And so the convening today, all of us will agree, is not just ceremonial, right? This is an event to honor the remarkable man, the person, the leader that Congressman Jim McGovern is. His fearless championing of the rights of the Tibetan people and likewise those of oppressed, I think reflects a core American value. And his tireless advocacy for the rights of Tibetan people, being a friend, a cherished friend of His Holiness, the Dalai Lama, I think will really be etched in the annals of the 21st century. Therefore, on behalf of the Regional Tibetan Association of Massachusetts, especially the organizing committee and all of us here, I would like to welcome all of you to join us in honoring the man who, according to me, and I'm sure all of us in this room will agree, is today one of the tallest leaders of the 21st century. Thank you very much.
도시에